Hi, Carl here for ProAV TV, and today we're taking a look at the Superpanel Dual Color 60 from Lupo. Now, the original Superpanel from Lupo was the best-selling light that we've had from Lupo. It's the 1x1 version of this light that is by far, or at least up until I've used this one, the brightest LED panel I've ever used. The original Superpanel scored just under 25,000 lux at 1 meter, which is incredibly bright. You normally only ever see lux scores that bright on something with a Fresnel lens on the front of it, whether that's an LED or a tungsten or a HMI. One of those larger LED lights which have got a Fresnel lens on will get that bright, but an LED panel like this, that's the only one that I've ever seen manage to do it. Now this is the 2x1 version of that light, and this scores a whopping just under 60,000 lux at 1 meter, which means it's more than twice as bright as the original. And notice as well that the TLCI meter readings are 96 when it's in daylight, so it's easily color accurate enough to use as a key light for your subject as well, which is fantastic to see. So the Superpanel Dual Color 60 is a bi-color fixture going from 3200 Kelvin up to 5600 Kelvin. The user interface on the back is going to be instantly familiar if you've used any Lupo lights before. They've kept it exactly the same here. You get 2 dials, one for color temperature, one for brightness. You get your menu controls, you get a simplified LCD screen and some DMX in and out. It's really nice and simple and easy to use. Power-wise, it is quite a power-hungry light. It needs 400 watts of power, and it gets that from 2 separate DC power transformers here on the back. Now, these aren't fed from 2 different plug sockets. You can feed it off of 1 plug socket, and it uses this very clever little splitter cable here to take 1 power cable and feed both of these DC transformers. But you do need 2 of these transformers into 2 XLR sockets here to power the whole light. You can run it off battery. They've got optional battery plates, and if you buy 2 of them and put 1 of them each here, you can run it off V-Lock batteries or gold mount batteries, but you are going to need fairly beefy batteries to do that. Lupo say you need over 160 watt-hour batteries, and of course remember that you need 2 of those, 1 on each side. But to be honest, with a light this powerful, it's just quite nice to be able to run it off batteries at all. So I guess the big question here is, why would you need an LED panel that is this bright in the first place? I mean, there's several ways that you can use a light that's this bright. The first is as a direct source of light. Maybe you want to flood a large area, say you're outside, or maybe you're in a large warehouse, something like that, and you just want a big light to just flood the area. Maybe that's a backlight, for example, and you're trying to replicate the sun or the moonlight, something like that. One very bright source of light which just floods everywhere like this is going to be perfect for it. But I think the most common way to use a light like this is going to be to bounce it. LED panels, particularly ones which are a bit harder like this, can be quite harsh to shine directly at the face of your subject. And so if you're key lighting with this, I really recommend you bounce it off something. And when you bounce light off something, of course, you're lowering that brightness of that light quite significantly. And so if you need to compete with something like a window behind your subject, you're going to want a very bright light to get started. And that's especially true when you're trying to do something like a book light, which is one of my favorite ways of lighting. And as far as I know, it's one of the simplest and easiest ways to get an incredibly flattering soft light on your subject. A book light is where you take a bright source of light like this, you bounce it off something, so a wall or a reflector or a bounce board, but then chuck it through another sheet of diffusion to make almost this triangle of light. And each one of those steps is going to be diffusing your light more and more, meaning your light is very, very soft once it hits your subject, but of course it's much dimmer than the light you started with. So a bright light like this is going to make your life an awful lot easier, especially if you're trying to do this in an already bright environment, maybe something with natural light going on behind your subject. But at the end of the day, only you really knows whether or not a brighter light like the Superpanel Dual Color 60 can help you in your work. So if you think it will, let me know down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to buy one of these from yourselves, of course, just head over to the ProAV website, and the link to that is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.